Blackopolypse. Blackopolypse.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, of course. You can see me talking. You can see me talking, but you can't hear me talking, and that's the thing.
That's it.
Cool way to start the show. Hey.
Welcome to sorry, what was that?
That was such a cool way to start. That's pretty cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah. That's we always have to have the music to start off with.
We have a little dance, you know. Let's get warmed up.
We have to drop the beat. Anyway, welcome to Blackopolypse. Oh man, I'm sounding like Simon, ain't I?
Welcome to Blackopolypse. I mean, yeah, man, that's it. I'll do it.
No, it's Blackopolypse podcast media now. That's what it is. With the Horseman crew, I guess. What was that, Nigel?
I think I froze then. You know, I might have to jump onto my own phone, but I'll see how I go for now. Right,
yeah, it's okay. Anyway, so what we established is Rutendo.
Rutenda.
No, it's Rutendo.
Oh.
It's not at the end.
There's an O at the end, but it's ah.
It's not, is it?
Ah.
Hey, look, man, Nigel, you don't make the rules, okay?
You told me your name. Is it Rutenda?
It's Rutendo with an O.
Oh, Rutendo. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Let me just clean out my ears.
Slick.
Why?
Anyway.
Oh, Rutendo. I do apologize.
Okay.
So anyway, today we've got Nigel. Nigel's the guy with the white t-shirt. We've got Simon. Simon's the guy in the kind of like a burgundy pink
t-shirt.
Is this going out? Is this going out in black and white?
Oh yeah, good question. No. Hey, anyway, and we got Rutendo. Rutendo is our special guest from South Africa, and that's great because I've been searching for someone who could tell us a little bit about the motherland for a while. And I know you said that you're not the last word, obviously, of what happens in Africa. But we're just gonna ask you some simple questions and let us get your perspective, because it's not normal for us to speak to someone who's in Africa directly. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen much for Europeans, especially European Black people or Pan-African people, if that's what you want to call us. So
we do tend to speak to a lot of Black folk in the US and in Europe, obviously. So it's not like we don't speak to Black folks when we're talking about Black issues and stuff, but it's just that in general, we talk so much about Africa as a continent and individual places within Africa, but we very rarely get the chance to get guests on from Africa, and we've probably got a barrage of questions, so make yourself comfortable.
Fantastic, but massive disclaimer, like just please remember, I'm not the poster child representation of the entire continent, just putting that out there.
You have your own South African experience, right?
Okay.
You have your own South African experience, so you can only...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, of course, I want to start off with my stupid idea. No, the stupid thing I always say at the start of the show, you know, I always call myself stupid. And this week, I've had an epiphany. Hey, listen, you know, I was listening to this, you know, this song. It's actually currently it's been number one for a long time. It's not number one anymore, I don't think. It's somebody to hear, somebody to love, somebody to...
that is beautiful.
Yeah, I know. My rendition is terrible, but you know the song.
Tune, man, big tune.
I don't even know what tune you're on about, brother.
Oh, let me wind this one up. What's the words, Ray?
You need somebody to... I need somebody to love, somebody to hold, somebody to know. You know the song.
I don't know that song, man. Seriously.
Oh, man,
what with that perfect recreation?
If I'm honest, I don't listen to much radio apart from when the wife's driving. So I don't hear these new tunes unless I decide to. But now I haven't heard that. I don't hear pop music in my eyes.
No, you know, basically that song is that. Remember Maya He? I think Rutendo actually picked up on that, and that's what I realized. It's just it's that song Maya He, Maya Ho, Maya Ho. But that, remember, and that song that was popular just recently, that one with the guy with the raspy voice, man. He's like, somebody to hold, I just wanted to say, somebody to hold. It's exactly the same song. I know. I'm sorry,
Take your
guys.
headphones off. Take your headphones off, Nosh.
Can I mute you?
Sorry, Rutendo.
Sorry, Rutendo.
Now that you say that, it actually, you can hear the similarities, but I didn't
Yeah.
actually know.
Well, a lot of hit records have got the same composition behind all the flow. You know that. You guys are musicians, man.
But yeah, but I just wanted to,
pop music is created. It's a format. It's a formula.
yeah, I just wanted to point it out, though. You know, that's the.
What was he pointing out? Oh, it was similar to that.
Well, yeah, I pointed out that pretty much the same song, and that musicians will continue forever to rip each other off and say that was my song and I made it. But actually, all of these stole the melody, and then recovered it, repackaged it, and said, "Yeah, this is my song." Which, not to diminish how beautiful the song is, because it really is nice, but it's just one of those things, and that's.
I mean, you saying that. I didn't really appreciate Motown until I became older and started to go into more weddings where they seem to play Motown, especially certain people's weddings. And I started hearing these tunes. I was like, hold on a second. Biggie Smalls did a mix of this, or Big Daddy Kane did a mix of this. If you think about it, the most original music, I think, in terms of original, is probably from the 40s to the 90s. Just before.
No, that's too far. I would say the 40s.
Because the thing is, what you got to remember is they had to play this stuff on instrument. There's none of this electronic.
But 80 after the 70s. After the 70s, it was like electronic music coming in, so I would say it's the 40s.
Yeah, 40s.
Not the 40s.
I would say the 70s. I reckon, original music was always championed. I mean, there was always people recreating. I mean, like, you only have to go and look at someone like Beethoven, and people were reciting these symphonies, like, straight back from pretty much the time when he was probably still alive, let alone when he was dead. So, like, we've got a history of doing that. But what happened, like Alstallio said, is sort of in the 70s, there was basically digital, well, not digital, there was analog sampling that happened. So when people started to take bits of actual other songs and sort of put them in their own tunes, before that they maybe would have played the instruments and recreated it. But what they do in the 70s, and again a lot in the 80s, especially with like a lot of sort of urban dance,
electro,
these kind of things. Yeah, it was a big change in music, and I think now what's happening is that the music that's created, and I mean this is down to opinion, I guess, but with the way music's created now, modern music doesn't have the same appeal. If it isn't ripping anything off, it just doesn't have the same sort of appeal, and people are just as susceptible now in this day and age to the classic tunes that we had when we was growing up and what we heard. So that when you listen to something like "Regulate" by Warren G, and you hear that start, the start of a tune coming, you love that. Now that tune's big, like someone did a modern tune with that in the background, or something like, in England we had Stormzy do a cover, and he had the song "Dirty Cash" in it. That Money Talks.
Money Talks. He killed that song, didn't he?
Yeah, they do, and they do. I mean, you even had the Crazy Frog doing Axel Foley and that. Axel F and stuff like that from the 80s and that.
Kill the song, man.
Exactly. So a lot of our songs, I mean, they have been ruined by modern people, but at the same time, I think it just shows how good our music is. The fact that the songs that are not being sampled now are not songs from like the early 2000s. We're talking like classics, like you mentioned earlier, Motown tunes, funk tunes. Funk's really in at the moment.
Man. Some of them Motown songs, man. Boy, serious, man. I'm talking from the soul, from the soul.
Isn't that also just a time period thing? Because and generational, because anyone could say, look, music from even before the 70s, people could go into the 60s and the 40s. It's just kind of like where you're born and what generation of music we're in. So like my younger sister is 7 years younger than me, but she can still play whether it's a Motown track or like a jazz track, like listen, like Madonna, like from Madonna, like original tracks. Belong to them only because she's within the same generation of my parents who even listen to that kind of music. But also like on the classical music side of things, so like I grew up, like I'm classically trained and grew up listening to a lot of classical music. Also Beethoven was black.
Wow. Beethoven's black.
Did you not hear that? That we were like, Beethoven was black.
No one told me that.
We must look it up. Beethoven's black.
Let's say mixed heritage.
I'm going straight on Google now.
But even like listening to like classical music and stuff, like if you listen to instrumentals of like incredible pieces, or like I listen to a number of film scores, if they were kind of just written in a pop version, or you take a famous pop song or hip hop song and you put a classical spin on it, suddenly people are like, oh, this moves me in a different way. It's just the way that instrumentalists or musicians interpret music.
And the listener also as well, and the listener. Because like you say, what will probably tend to happen is, especially if you've got unintentional bias, or we're talking a lot about racism recently in the news. How many I want to say white folk, how many white folk would hear a tune, not realise it's a black tune because a white artist has done a cover of it?
God, that's gone on for years, man.
Yeah, so like it's the man. It seems like sometimes I'm not trying to go on. Oh man, don't even get me started with the
Beatles too. The Beatles too.
The father of rock and roll. I mean, come on, give me a break, man. Like seriously, I mean, like I ain't gonna discount the man's credentials, like as in being a hell of an artist. But geez, we was about 30 years before that. I'm sure rock and roll was going basically not in the 40s.
A lot of what he
early 40s
brought into it was what he'd seen the coloured people doing at the dances that he'd gone to and watched. So you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, man, these guys can move, man. That's why the white folk loved him, because he could dance. He he dispelled the myth for them.
But I couldn't love us for it. It was like, nah, man, we need a white fella to do this, man. But do you know the thing is, the beautiful thing about it, because I don't want to go on like a negative thing about race. We've got plenty to us probably to do with probably race and apartheid and stuff like that. We'll probably get onto a bit later on. But like in terms of like appreciation, I think one thing that anybody on any side walk of life will appreciate is that white people really do love black music. They love it, even if they can't stand black people. They love it, and they will play it on their own if they have
culture in it.
Love our music.
You know what it is, though. You know what it is. If you think of like the classical tunes from what would have been, I don't know, from the eras, the Middle Ages, and that, they didn't have drums. It was all like ting 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 ting. You went to Africa and you hear it. And people are shocked. People are shocking out. You know, they thought to themselves, "Hold on a minute,
hardcore as well."
I could wear like 2 steps, then stop, then turn, then 2 steps, then pop. These men got drums, and what they didn't realise is that the drum was how you dance, because you just followed the beat, man. But they couldn't get their heads around it. What's this beat I keep hearing? Ooh.
Hey, I got a story for you actually. Do you know that when obviously when the Africans went to America, and the white folks were like, "What are these guys doing, man?" You know, because they took the drums with them, and they took all the drums away, and that's how they created tap dance. You know that?
Okay.
Tap dance was a different variation of drums, man. That's why they could do so good. So when you guys look at TV watching a white dude do tap dance, it was actually invented by
some amazing black tap dancers, man, and it was big, especially in America, like I say, especially in the South and stuff like that. It was huge, and I encourage anyone who actually hasn't watched early, say, 30s or 40s tap. Like that's when it was probably the heyday, probably in the 50s actually, and it was still very, very big, and it inspired people like Fred Astaire and a lot of white sort of people to take on tap. And if you go into any sort of classic dance studio these days, tap will always be on this curriculum, because it's always ballet, jazz, tap, and whatever. Tap is so instrumental because the footwork involved sets you up so well to do any other form of dance. It's just literally like you say, it's learned, and it has come from our culture, and I think that's an amazing thing to celebrate alongside many other things. But yeah, man.
Rutendo, can I ask you a question? You said you was classically trained. You classically trained piano player, I guess, pianist.
Flautist, flute.
Oh, you're okay.
Wow.
You ever played Pavan?
Did I ever play?
You never played Pavan?
Like Parshabal. Is it Parshabal?
No, not
that's canon.
That's canon. No, Pavan. Wait, I'm gonna. You don't know what it is?
No.
I'm gonna see if I'm gonna see if I can quickly
Oh, that sounds terrible. What? Put it in a normal piano sound.
Can you hear it?
Literally piano.
I'm playing the piano. I want to see if I can play it.
Nichols in this chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't played it so long, man. I can't remember it, but you know this song.
Yes.
That's how some love story film from back in the day.
Maybe, but it used
No,
to be
that's not that one, but I know
that was a song I was asked to play in school with my teacher, and it was with flutes, you know, and the women would play the flutes, and I was playing the piano like. That was back in the day.
Wow.
Okay, that's great. Anyway, let's move on to our guests because you know we're born with music, and music's not interesting, especially this week. We got a woman from Africa here, man. What we want? Oh, South Africa, sorry. Actually, this is the first time we can actually say we got a woman
in Africa.
South, yeah, but the thing is, a lot of people, like you said earlier, a lot of people will just generalize and say, yeah, Africa, I've been to Africa. Although they've been to Tanzania, they've been to Senegal, they've been to Gambia, they've been to Mozambique. Now we've got a woman who's actually from South Africa, so we can actually use the word Africa to describe where she's from, as opposed to most cases you should say, I actually went to, I don't know, Morocco or, I don't know, Togo.
Wherever.
Anyway, so sorry?
So I'm born in Zimbabwe, raised in South Africa. So
Okay.
I'm not within the entire continent, but yes, I am on the south side. I'm very south of Africa.
Zimbabwe. Was Zimbabwe Rhodesia?
South, they named it South Africa.
Yeah, correct.
Rhodesia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was Zimbabwe, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Zaire was, where was Zaire now? Was that,
Congo.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure Zaire was Congo.
Look it up.
Yeah. Anyway,
Nigel.
I've got to jump in with a question straight away, actually, if you don't mind me cutting into your thing, because you just said that you have Zimbabwean heritage. I've got a lot of Zimbabwean friends, but I was speaking to a mixed race girl, and she has no Zimbabwean heritage. She has an adopted. Her father was sort of adopted, but he was from Zimbabwe. Sorry, he was from Africa. Sorry, but not Zimbabwe. He wanted to give a strong name that represented a strong female, obviously female name, but an African name as well. And the name that he chose was actually a Zimbabwean name, and it's brought her a lot of attention because basically what's happened is people have said it's disrespectful for her to hold this name. And I was wondering if you knew about this name and if you could tell us anything about it. But her name is Nahanda. Nahanda. Apparently this Nahanda was like a historic figure in Zimbabwe. I don't know if she was like a queen or empress or something like that. And people say that if you almost say her name, it's probably equivalent of saying Jesus Christ to somebody and to a Christian in the UK maybe, and they're taking it offensive. But apparently, yeah, she's received a lot of attention, good and bad, just because her name is Nahanda, and it's a Zimbabwean name apparently. Maybe Alstallio can have a look.
I did not know that, but I'm gonna look that up. Interesting.
Cool.
No, I cannot answer on that.
That's all right. That's cool. But yeah, it was just a quick question. Sorry, Alstallio.
But I will say, I mean, like on the naming of children or names have a lot of meaning in a lot of African countries. Definitely in Zim, definitely in South Africa, there is a lot of weight that your name carries. You'll find even with a lot of Zimbabwean people born from Zim or who are named, who have Shona names or Ndebele names, there's usually a story behind it, which I think is the beauty of it. So you'll find like Zimbabwean names, some of them are like directly translated. So, I mean, my older sister's name is Tatenda, which means thank you. My name is Rutendo, which means we are thankful. Some Zimbabwean parents will name their children the English equivalent of the name they would have given them. So it'll be like, Loveless or Lovemore. Very interesting and intriguing names.
Like Promise. I heard someone called Promise and stuff like this.
Yeah, but they're
good luck. Like Good Luck as well is one that I heard. You know
what I mean. These names are here, but it's so beautiful because I think it's attached. Names aren't just given. It's not like oh, I think this name is a pretty name. There is actually a lot of meaning behind the names, and you carry that as you live, as you walk in your life. You carry the meaning of your name as well.
Okay, that's so cool.
I actually named my daughter Shani. That's a pretty it's a Swahilian origin. Do you speak Swahili in South Africa? Does it have a variation of it at all?
No, so there are 11 official languages in South Africa. Swahili is not one of them. But but The Lion King features Swahili. Not stayed in South Africa.
Isn't that fake though? It's not Hakuna Matata, isn't it Hakuna Mazuzu?
Hakuna Matata, actually, yeah, it means no worries. So in Tanzania, they speak Swahili.
Yeah, that's where I got it from, because I've been to Tanzania, and they said, well, a girl I knew who spent a lot of time in Tanzania.
But quite often actually, like literally, like they're just, it's so relaxed, they're so chilled. Well, on Zanzibar, not necessarily.
Yeah, Zanzibar, yeah. Actually, all of it, to be fair, it was nice, man. I love that. So you got 11, actually answer one of my questions, 11 official languages. So can you name me some of these languages? English, Afrikaans, I believe is one of them.
Afrikaans. English, I can't name them all, but English, Afrikaans, Xhosa, Zulu, Swati, Pedi. I forgot the rest.
Do you speak all 11?
Or the one with the clicking?
Eh?
The Xhosa, is that the one with the clicking when they talk as well?
Yes, yeah. Xhosa has a lot of clicking. The African language, there's so much beauty in African languages, I'm not gonna lie.
Sure.
Someone born in Zim, raised in South Africa, I can understand Shona and speak very broken Shona. I can understand minimal Xhosa and next to no Zulu. And Afrikaans, because I mean, it was part of our education system in South Africa to learn Afrikaans. Though I think they should have switched that up with like an African language, because
sure.
You know, culture and preservation of, especially of languages and of culture. As one progresses and proceeds, the one thing that I feel we don't hold on to enough is culture, or that we don't teach enough of is culture. And eventually you end up only doing things in the context of being in a specific cultural setting, and then it's oh, now what we do. Whereas I feel like, especially on the educational side, if you can take that up until like the way I know Afrikaans, only because I had to take it up until matric, I would have loved to know Xhosa or Zulu up until that point, as opposed to Afrikaans. But yeah. So
may I ask a question leading on from that? So my question, I was going to ask a little bit about apartheid in South Africa, but one thing I wanted to definitely find out about is more after, obviously, black people got power back, or the is it ANC that got power back? Is that did I get that right? Which is the party that got power back?
Yeah.
Was it the ANC?
Yes, the ANC.
Okay, so when they got power back, and obviously, I'm guessing that a lot more black people got into politics and got, not just Nelson Mandela, but I guess there was